Today's gospel passage comes from Mark's gospel, the 6th chapter, and it is the story of the beheading of John the Baptist. And so today we memorialize and the passion of John the Baptist. And the story tells of how this beheading occurred, and it occurred because John had warned Herod not to marry the wife of his brother, which was wrong in the eyes of the theology at that time in Jerusalem. And this really angered Herodias, who was the wife of Herod. And she plotted a time where she could get her revenge. And it just so happens that she sent her daughter to do a dance in front of Herod and all of the officials. And in front of all of them, Herod said to her, to the daughter of Herodias, his niece, that he would give her whatever she wanted simply because she had danced so wonderfully for him. She thought about it and went to her mother, and her mother said, ask for the head of John the Baptist on a platter. And she did. And Herod, who was stuck between his ego and wanting to say that he didn't want to do this because he had wondered about this man, John the Baptist, but relinquished because he had said he would do this thing in front of all of his friends, and he could not and would not be embarrassed. So he beheaded John the Baptist. When reading this, it came to me that sometimes we need to just take a step back. We just need to consider what we have just said, what we are thinking about doing, and just take a step back, swallow our ego, admit we are possibly wrong or in fact wrong, and rethink what we're about to do or about to say. It is called discerning our action. How often, and I shouldn't be a sexist, but how often have I, as a husband, been driving way before GPS and determined I was going to get where I was going to go, and I would not stop to ask anyone? Well, that was my ego, because I wanted to make certain I knew exactly where I was going and no one could tell me. But I didn't take a step back, swallow my ego, and get to where I needed to go. How often in your life have you said something and thought, well, this was the right thing to do, and you forged ahead and at the last moment realized this is a mistake? But instead of taking a step back, rethinking your position, you just forged ahead. My friends, even Christ took a step back when he was in the garden and said, Lord, if this is the cup you want me to take, I will. Lord, it's a difficult one. So he rethought it, but did it. Mary asked, how could this be? She needed to think, and then said yes. You see, when we rethink our positions and recognize that it is right, that's what takes the courage. I have been in many circumstances when I work with the poor, work in communities where there's addictions and the like, and there's a fear. Lord, are you sure this is what you want me to do, to go into this crack house? Is this sure what you want me to do, to stop and try to help this person who's about to put a needle in their arm? I have to rethink it because, see, I sometimes need the courage. And when we do, in the simplest of things, usually we'll do what is right. When we rethink being angry, when we rethink being jealous, when we rethink being kind, when we rethink that the things that we need to do should follow our faith, our teachings, and our understanding. Please understand this. Being tempted is not wrong. Being tempted to do something wrong in and of itself isn't wrong. It is acting on it. So we need to sometimes rethink what we're about to do to see if it complies with what God is asking us to do. So every morning, I say to myself, Lord, what are we going to do today?